Yeah. So my question to you all is: anyone has used React before, or you have done HTML, CSS? If anyone has used any of these stacks, please write it in the chat. What have you used, Amit? Okay, Amit has used React.js. Some of you have done HTML, CSS. No worries. So if you have done it, it will be a refresher for you, right? Probably we'll be starting with React from next week. This week will be HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. All right. So I'll now give it over to Mayank. Mayank, you can start the class.
Okay, thank you, Yash. So I know some of you have covered the HTML, CSS, but we will start with basic. Like some of you guys haven't started the HTML, CSS, and might not be comfortable with the HTML. So we will just do a short recap. Thing first. So like अगर हम बात करें, like we talk about history of the web. So some of you might know that the first internet was used by the US government and US military to connect computers to communicate with each other, right? Some of you might know about it. Anybody know about it? So before writing any code, so let's just recap what we like how the actual web is created and how the things are working right now. So just for a short like memory, like for the knowledge and facts, we would say that first net was used. जो first पहला internet था उसको हम जो नाम दिए थे पहले वो था ARPANET. That was used by US military to connect computers. Okay. देन जो नेक्स्ट चीज थी टाइमलाइन में देखी जाए तो 1971 में स्टार्ट हुआ हमारा ईमेल, जो कि एक स्टैंडर्डाइज टीसीपी एंड आईपी प्रोटोकॉल्स था। ये इसके बारे में हम बाद में देखेंगे। सो जो फर्स्ट स्टार्ट है, जो फादर हम कह सकते हैं, लाइक फादर ऑफ द वेब इज टिम बर्नर्स ली, जिन्होंने वर्ल्ड वाइड वेब स्टार्ट किया था। सम ऑफ यू माइट नो अबाउट इट, राइट? सो फर्स्ट वेबसाइट ही क्रिएटेड विद एचटीएमएल। तो आज इंटरनेट पे जितने भी हम पेजेस वगैरह देख रहे हैं, ये सब इनकी देन है। अगर इन्होंने एचटीएमएल में फर्स्ट के पेज आज क्रिएट नहीं होता होता तो आज के टाइम पे हमारा रिएक्ट वगैरह भी काम नहीं कर रहा होता, कुछ भी लाइक एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं करता। सो व्हाट ही हैव डन, सो ही हैव क्रिएटेड एचटीएमएल एंड डुआ एचटीटीपी। एचटीटीपी के बारे में हम थोड़ा सा बाद में देखेंगे, ये थोड़ा सा एक लाइक छोटा सा टॉपिक है, अपन इसको देखेंगे। यूआरएल, सम ऑफ यू माइट नो अबाउट यूआरएल्स, राइट? हम डे टू डे लाइफ में इसका बहुत यूज करते हैं, किसी भी चीज का लिंक लाइक उसको जो भी हम लाइक शेयरिंग के लिए यूज करते हैं तो वो यूआरएल उसको कहते हैं। ठीक है। सो अगर हम देखें तो पहले जो 1991 में जो टिम बर्नर्स ली ने जो वेबसाइट क्रिएट की थी वो बहुत ज्यादा बेसिक वेबसाइट थी, जिसमें केवल और केवल एचटीएमएल का यूज हुआ था। ओके। एचटीएमएल क्या होता है? एचटीएमएल, सम ऑफ यू माइट नो दैट एचटीएमएल इज जस्ट अ स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ वेबसाइट, like how our website gonna load on the browser, that everything gonna show what data is gonna have there and what type of data gonna have there, right? सो बेसिकली एचटीएमएल हमारा यही काम करता है कि हमको एक रफ लेआउट दे देता है हमारी वेबसाइट का। श्योर श्योर, यू विल गेट दिस वीडियो लेक्चर आफ्टर द क्लासेस। सो अगर बेसिक बेसिक हम बात करें, सो लाइक जो पहला हमारा जो वेब था, लाइक जो टिम बर्नर्स ली एंड उसके बाद में जो जो चीजें इवॉल्व हो रही थी उसको हम कह सकते हैं फर्स्ट जनरेशन ऑफ वेब था। फर्स्ट जनरेशन ऑफ वेब में क्या था कि इट वाज जस्ट लाइक कि वी कैन ओनली यूज इट इन आवर सिस्टम्स लाइक पीसी, हैवी हैवी पीसीज, वी हैव टू नीड लाइक स्क्रॉलिंग पेजेस एंड गेटिंग like websites to see, like interacting with website. Okay. Like फर्स्ट जो वेबसाइट थी उनके साथ में इंटरेक्शन उतना पॉसिबल नहीं था, डेटा लाइक जो बैकएंड वगैरह सिस्टम उतना एग्जिस्ट करते नहीं थे, जब जस्ट बेसिक एचटीएमएल लेआउट था। अगर बेसिक एचटीएमएल का लेआउट का बात करें तो अगर मैं आपको दिखाऊं, जस्ट फॉर एग्जांपल, जो लोगों को नहीं पता उनके लिए, टिम बर्नर्स ली का जो फर्स्ट वेबसाइट था, दिस इज द वेबसाइट जो टिम बर्नर्स ली ने फर्स्ट टाइम क्रिएट किया था। कैन इवन टेल मी कि यहाँ पे कौन कौन सा टैग्स वगैरह यूज किए होंगे यहाँ पे? अगर किसी को पता है तो कोई बता सकता है? When are you guys listening or not? सो दिस इज जस्ट बेसिक्स, लाइक कि यहाँ पे जो भी तुमको टैग्स वगैरह दिख रहे हैं, जैसे वर्ल्ड वाइड वेब पर तुम देख रहे हो, ये बहुत ज्यादा बेसिक बेसिक चीजें यहाँ पे इस्तेमाल की हैं, जो कह सकते हो कि जब हम फाउंडेशन किसी भी वेबसाइट का बोले तो ये इन चीजों से, इन टैग्स से डिसाइड होता है कि किसी वेबसाइट का जो फाउंडेशन है किस तरीके से रहने वाला है। सो इसके बारे में हम आगे पढ़ेंगे, तो अभी के लिए अगर किसी को नहीं पता तो कोई बात नहीं। ओके, अमित कुमार सेट की हेडिंग, या आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट टैग्स। व्हाट टैग्स? Oh, sorry about that. Now it is clear. So, 1 2 3 mic check. Sumit, can you confirm? Is my voice is clear now? Not yet. Um. Okay, then I will use my primary microphone. Now you can confirm. Is my voice is clear now? Sumit, can you confirm? Hello, 1 2 3 mic check, mic check. Okay, sir. No, I'm not paused. I was just checking the voices now. Are you guys listening my voice? Is my voice clear? Can anyone confirm?
Yeah, hi guys. I think Mayank's voice is clear now because I can hear him, and also confirm if you can hear me here, right? Hear me right now, okay? So yeah, so I'll just give a recap of what we learned so far. Basically, he said that the first internet was called a pernet. It was used by the U.S. military, right? Then we moved further from that. So the next thing that we invented was the email, right? So for you all use Gmail, right? So Gmail is an email invented by the Google, right? Uh,
So that works on the TCP and IP principle, that is your transmission control protocol and internet protocols, right? So that is a part of networking. I hope you all guys are clear with that. So I think you have studied the subject of networking in your previous semesters, right? Please confirm in the chat. Okay. Thank you everyone for confirming that. Yeah. Now, the earlier websites were basically static, right? So what I mean by static is that we could not interact with them because we did not have basically the usage of databases back then, right? The databases were not very interactive. So that is what we call a static site. Now, even what sir is using right now is a static site because all the things are displayed there, right? At most, what we are using is some conditionals, right? Nothing more than that. So that is what we call a static site. Now, then we move forward, right? Then came JavaScript, then came a certain libraries, certain frameworks that helped us make site much better. Like some examples we could take is by Google, there was this Angular framework that we use. So then came the React, there is Vue.js. So there are a lot of frameworks and libraries that you could use for making websites that has made our work very easier, right? So further in this course we'll be learning what is a component, how do we use that component, right? So if anyone, this is just a quiz. I'm not expecting every one of you will know what I'm going to ask you, but if anyone know what is a component, please write it in the chat, and let's keep this class very interactive. Does anyone know what is an component? Abhilasha, Pavani, Tripathi, Amit, anyone? Mine, could you please scroll the presentation a bit? Okay. So there's this quiz question here, right? So the question is, who invented the World Wide Web? Can you please write it in the chat? We just now we read that. Yeah, sorry, actually I was mute. Yeah, so this is the next slide. Here we are going to look at how the internet actually works. So he has made a very beautiful the flow diagram of how it is working. So first thing, when you access the internet, you do it via a browser, right? Then the next layer is the DNS lookup. Then you go for the TCP connect, right? So we already discussed what is the TCP. That is your transmission control protocol, right? Then comes the HTTP request. Does anyone know the full form of HTTP? If anyone knows, please write it in the chat. Let's keep this class interactive. Anyone knows the full form of HTTP, please write it in the chat. That is HTML. here is HTTP. Hypertext Markup Language is the full form of HTML. It's the structure, basically, you know, how you're going to structure the website. It is also known as the skeleton of the website. So HTML gives the skeleton of the website, right? Yeah, Priyanshu, it's hypertext transfer protocol. It's basically how the, you know, your HTML, tags in itself interact with each other, right? Then comes the server response, and then your page is rendered. Basically, you know, it's shown on the website, you know, how so on the browser, how it is visible, right? Yeah. So then there are some definitions that we can read down there. So what is a DNS? It's kind of like a phone book, right? You know which one to dial, right? So computers usually don't understand google.com, right? What is a google.com? It's a URL, right? Anyone knows the full form of URL? Because we banks also told you what is a URL, right? It stands for Universal Resource Locator, right? So anything on the internet you can visit via URL. Now URL is also decoded, right? Because again, we told you we do not, the website does not understand www.google.com or www.zoho.in, right? What they understand is some, you know, addresses, right? So that can be a 64-bit address or something like that. So that's called an IP address or a MAC address. So these are the addresses. A MAC is a physical address of the laptop, and IP is the internet protocol address, right? So you can see they use IP addresses, like there is a given example, right? 142.250, something like that. So DNS translates these names to numbers. All right. TCP, what is a TCP IP? Just let us read through that. So, you know, data doesn't travel, you know, like a big file, like how we think it does. It is broken into tiny packets, right? That is called the data packets. You know, each finding its own route, right? And then they are once again resembled at the destination, right? So when you send, let's say, a sentence that the lazy fox jump over the, you know, something like that, it doesn't go in a whole sentence. It is broken bit by bit, you know, letter by letter, you can understand. Yeah. Now there are some HTTP codes. Before that, what is the difference between HTTP and HTTPS? We will have to understand, right? Anyone knows the difference between HTTP and HTTPS? Security. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Patula Surya Narayan. Okay, I'll call it Surya, right? So it's security, right? HTTP, just when you visit a website, it will be HTTP dot to HTTP :/ google.com, and it could be HTTPS, right? So S is secure, yes. So S points out that this site is secure. It has an active SSL certificate, right? Now, what is the SSL certificate? We'll go through that later on, right? When we actually build the websites. Right now, there are certain codes that you should know, right? You should remember. Like, just give me a moment. Yeah, sorry, I was getting a call. Yeah, so whenever you try to open a HTTP site with an HTTP URL in the URL, you will always receive a warning, right? That there is a problem with the site or something like that, and the browser itself won't want you to proceed with opening that website, right? Yeah, so Mayank sir would be probably giving an example. Please, Mayank sir, if an example, please. Oh yeah, so it's not secure. It is written over there, right? So it's not a secure website. Yeah, can we go back to the slide, Mayank sir? Yeah. Now coming to the HTTP codes, see when we do some requests, right? So we get a response. If you are going to do anything, you will always get a response, right? There will be a reaction for the action that you do. So it can be a failure, it can be a success, there can be some ambiguity, right? So for all these things, there are certain codes decided so that you know whether your protocol has passed or not, right? Now 200 is okay, that means it is a success, your page has been found, it has been done, right? 301 is for moved, that page has been permanently moved. Basically, it was there on the previous URL, but now it has been shifted to another one, right? Similarly, 404 is for not found. Let's say page doesn't even exist, right? So if you're going to open, let's say lpu.in slash, let's say Chandigarh University, obviously that page won't be present in LPU's website, right? So in that case, you will get a 404 error. 403 is a forbidden. Basically, you do not have access, rights to access that page, something like that, right? 500 is a server error. Let's say there is a problem on the server end, then you get this error, right? Now we talk about server. A lot about server. What is a server actually? Does anyone know that? I'll be waiting for a definition in the chat before I proceed. Guys, I'm waiting in the chat. Okay. I'm assuming now if you know what is a server. Okay. Should I proceed? Anyone is attempting to write the definition? So I'll just give you an example. So basically a server is something, like let's say for running an internet, for running your browser, whatever thing you need, all that thing comes down to a server, right? All the resources that you need will be put together in a server, right? That is what we call server. Even your laptop can be a server because it has RAM, it has cache memory, right? Everything, right? So whatever is necessary for for functioning of your website, right? Even before you publish it on the internet, you buy a hosting, you run it locally, right? So your laptop itself works as a server for you. All right. So we won't go much deeper into that because we have a lot to learn. Yeah. So now here in this slide also there are certain definitions, right? So you see HTTP and HTTPS is there, DNS is there, right? So what is a DNS? It's a domain name system, right? So again, we discussed on the last portal that what is a DNS protocol, right? So you map your DNS records if you want to access some website, right? Also works as a security layer, like kind of, I would say. Now, TCP/IP we understood. SMTP is simple mail transfer protocol. That when you send an email, use the SMTP protocols. What is a protocol basically? Yeah, we're talking about protocols from now. DNS protocol, TCP/IP protocol. What is a protocol? Anyone can tell me the definition? Abhilash, Neeraj, Surya, Palak. Does anyone know the definition of protocol? Yep. Right, Suraj, Neeraj. So it's a basically set of instructions or set of rules that you have to follow to get a work done, right? Just like if you are going to drive, you have to drive on the left side of the road, right? In India, at least. So similarly, when TCP works, when SMTP works, they have to follow certain rules and regulations, right? So that is what we call a protocol. Yeah. Now there is again a keyword mentioned, so I would even want to explain that. So that is called a WebSocket. What is a WebSocket? Can anyone tell me? A very famous library for WebSocket is socket.io. If you want, you can search that on the internet. You will get to learn a lot, right? So sockets are used for connecting two endpoints in real time, right? So basically, they can share data in real time. It works basically on the concept of webhooks, right? So again, we'll also learn the concept of APIs and webhooks, how they are different and how they work. But for now, a socket main usage is so that we can connect two endpoints and they can interact in real time. The main usage of that is using chat apps. Like for example, we are chatting with you right now in the Zoho meetings chat. That is also uses kind of socket on the backend, right? Now again, there is an FTP that is called the file transfer protocol, right? So what is the file transfer protocol? Simple. We transfer files, could be any kind of file, right? And for that, there's certain rules, So similarly, you will run all these things. So yeah, I had asked a question, I guess earlier. I think I was mute at that time or something. Have you guys had the networking chapter till now? Like I think you all are going to be in the third year right now. Have you all went to the networking, right? So I don't think you will have problems with these. So I'll try not to explain this a lot in the coming lectures, right? So if you have any problems at that time, you can write it in the chat, right? Now there's a quiz here. What does DNS do? Please attempt, everyone. Write the answer in the chat that you feel is right. Neeraj says 2. Okay, B, everyone. All right, right. So it translates the domain names into IP addresses, just like we discussed. Actually, internet does not understand what is google.com. They understand an IP address, right? Yeah. So let's select that. Yeah, so that's correct. Let's move to the next slide. Right. Now the slide is browsers, servers, front end versus back end. Even before we start, does anyone know the difference between front end and back end? Please tell me if anyone knows what is front end and back end. अगर नाम से समझ में आ रहा है ना आपको, like by the name, if you understand something, you can also explain that to me. Let's not go very technical. Client server, there could be a lot of questions based on that. Let's understand very simple in simple English. What could be a front end? What could be a back end? And I would love that if you could give me an example of real world front end and back end. I always say that the internet is or the computer is real life shaping in a virtual world, right? So whatever you see on the internet already exists, and we are trying to keep that giving that a simulation in the virtual world. So what could be a real example of front end and back end? Okay, I'll wait for a minute for your responses, and then I'll explain it to you. All right. Thank you for your definitions. So I'll go with that. So yeah, front end is something that you can see, जो आप देख सकते हो. Back end is something you cannot see, or an end user doesn't see actually, right? Like my client too, I cannot see it, but the developer will obviously see it, right? Otherwise, how would he make the backend? Now, a real world example could be a kitchen or a restaurant, right? When you go to a restaurant, what do you see? You see a food menu, you order it, someone comes and delivers to you, you eat it. That's the front end, right? You see the table, you see the chandelier, right? You see the waiters and everything. That is the front end. Now, the kitchen, where the food is actually prepared, where the chef is there, right? Where the cooks are there, that is the back end. All right, clear, everyone? Now here in this real world example, I'll introduce another term, that is the API. You know who is the API in this thing, in this example? Me, everyone? Do you know who is the API in this example that I gave you? Right, Priyanshu. Waiter. Waiter is the API, right? So what you need from the backend, you do not go and directly tell to the backend, right? You will have to tell it to an API, that is a waiter. The waiter will carry your message, and he will tell the backend person that the front end guy needs, this dish, chow mein, right? Pad thai, something like that. And then he gets it, and he delivers to you. So we'll be learning in the upcoming lectures what is an API, what is a post and get methods, right? Everything. All right. Now we'll not go through this slide. It has some of the very technical terms that Mayank sir has prepared. I don't think you all will get it now, right? But we'll definitely go through it in the next lectures. So yeah, there is some, how the browser renders your website, something like that, right? So there's HTML received. You parse something in DOM, right? So that is document object model, something like that, right? Then there is CSS is there that gives the beauty to your website. So yeah, so we understood what is the HTML. Now there are two more important core concepts, right? That is your CSS and JavaScript. CSS gives the beauty to your website, right? So CSS gives the beauty. We'll compare it with the human body. HTML is a skeleton. The skin and the bones, the skin and the muscles, everything are your CSS. So that makes you how beautiful you are, right? And your brain is the JavaScript. So, it tells you how to function, right? What should be done, right, Priyanshu? We can understand, right? HTML, CSS, JavaScript working with this example. All right. Okay. Now, sir has mentioned over the side, there are some dev tools, right? You get some elements, console, network, performance. So we'll just give you an overview. So, Mayank sir, please, can you, give us the inspect tool? Can you please open the inspect tool? Not yet, actually. Please go to the next website. If this website reloads, there would be a problem. Open any website. Yeah, anyone uses Claude here? So has opened the website Claude. Anyone uses the Claude? Yeah. Priyanshu uses that. Anyone else? Let's be a little interactive. This is the first class, right? मेरे को पता है, like I am taking classes for the past 3-4 years, right? अभी after first or second week, everyone will go dormant, right? But try करें कि we'll keep our first few weeks at least interactive. Yeah. Now in this, you see few things, right? Everyone do Mayank sir to use that only. Yeah, Mayank sir uses Claude. Everyone uses Claude. If no one uses Claude at this time, I think you're lagging behind, right? You should adapt AI, right? You should not ignore it, and should not be totally dependent on it, especially you all guys. Abhi tak dependent nahi hona AI pe. Try to learn the basics, right? Now, we see few elements, a few things here, right? You see element, you see console, source, network, performance, memory, application, right? A lot of things. These are the dev tools that help you make your website better. There's also a thing called Lighthouse. It helps you, track your performance metrics of your website. How it is performing. So all these things are there, right? There is this thing called SEO and everything. These things definitions will be looking probably in today's class or in the next class. But yeah, so in the elements, you see the actual code, kind of what is in the front end, right? You see there are some maybe scripts running. There is a head tag. There is a body tag. So we have not started yet with the HTML, right? So these things will be looking forward to, right? Yeah. So again, there are these tags, right? And they have, each one of them has their own usage. Now you give a title to the website. Like in this website, what is the title? You see Claude Fable, right? You see there's a title. So how do you assign that? With the title tag, right? Abhi yahan pe what is written? Claude Fable 5 and Claude Mythos 5, right? So this is a heading tag, right? So H1 tag or S2 tag, something like that. You get this. Then there are certain descriptions written. There is in a paragraph tag, right? Then there is an image that is rendered here. That is there in the image tag, right? So it's very simple, and anyone can understand it, right? It's HTML is as simple as that. We go to the console, right? Please go to the console once. Thanks, sir. Yeah. Now in the console, you are actually running, kind of JavaScript, right? You see all your errors and everything. Yeah, you can check your logics here, right? So if you run some code 3 + 3, you get a 6, right? So basically JavaScript is running here, right? You learn console.log. Can you run one thing? Yeah. Let's write hello world, the first program. Yeah. So when we run this, hello world will be printed, right? See? So these are the instructions that we are giving within the JavaScript. Now there are sources, you go to the files and everything, structures. Network is where you can see your API calls and everything, right? Let's go to the network once. Okay, you have used the alert tag. Okay, so yeah, so we can use an alert tag. So alert tag gives us a prompt, right? If there's some problems, that can be put inside the alert tag. Click on OK. Yeah, I think there's a slight lag. Okay, so in the network tags, you can see what all APIs are being called, or webhooks are being called, right? So multiple things can be called, right? And you can see the statuses here, like we discussed earlier. So there's 200 status everywhere, right? That means all our calls were successful, right? The website did not show us an error. Everyone is clear with that? Okay, thank you. Then there is this memory, there is the application. So you all can discover this by yourself. We'll go in deep when we work on a project or something like that, right? जब हम deep में काम करेंगे तब हम जाएंगे. अभी हम इसको काटते हैं. Now, I would like to discuss one other term here, but before that, let's complete this slide. Yeah, so front end versus back end, a full picture. So there are certain, definitions are there, what languages are there. So you all can look at this. I'll just give you 1 minute or less. Just go through the slide once. Some examples of popular browsers that are there, right? So Chrome is one. Chrome is one that I am using right now, right? Firefox is there, Safari is there. Safari is used in Mac OS, right? Edge is there. So these are some of the famous browsers. All right, let's go to the quiz. Yeah, please answer this question, everyone. What is front-end development? Okay. All right. Yeah, let's go to the next slide. Everyone is right. Okay. So here are some of the dev tools. I guess, sir, you had put this very earlier. But yeah, nevertheless, we'll discuss this also, right? What is an IDE? Even before we go with this, what is an IDE? I'll write it here in the chat. IDE. Who knows what is IDE? Yeah, we all know the definition, right? Integrated development environment. That is the full form. We want the definition, and as simple as you can make it. It is written in the source code editor, right? Code up, like, like you all guys are using a code editor, right? When we were young, we used to write code in a notepad and then run that. So even notepad can be used as a code editor, right? Source code editor. Yeah. Okay. So IDE is basically, it gives you the basically environment, to run the code, to debug it, right? So you write the code, you run the code, you test the code, you debug it. So if everything is packed inside an IDE, right? All right. So he has given us the example of some code editors, right? There's Sublime Text, there is VS Code, right? There's a WebStorm, there is CodePen. CodePen you can use, online, right? Basically used for HTML, CSS, codes. So if you're going to search for some components, also you will be finding that over CodePen's website, right? So all these things are there, right? Now, I hope everyone has VS Code installed. I need everyone's yes in the chat who has VS Code installed, please. Today we won't be writing any code on the VS Code because I will be giving sir, please create a poll. Mang sir. Go to the slide. Meanwhile, the students are answering. Yeah. So आज हम try करेंगे कि हम कुछ भी code ना लिखें. Today we'll only talk about definitions and definitions, right? So हम थोड़ा अपना core concepts clear कर लेते हैं. Next lecture से we'll start writing our code. तब तक के लिए I want everyone has VS Code installed, right? कोई भी आप online pick up a sample code, try to run it on your website, right? On your browser. All right. Almost everyone has voted. Few students are not online, I guess. They have just joined for the sake of attendance. All right. No worries. Can you go to the some of the extensions that we use? Yeah. So here are some of the extensions that are mentioned here, right? I want every one of you to take a screenshot, right? You all can use this. There are multiple more extensions that you can use, but from these I want that you have live server, you have Prettier, right? You have auto rename tags probably, right? So all these are a few of the mandatory that I think you all should have, right? So what live server actually does is, right, when you write the code in HTML, you don't have to auto refresh, save every time, go to the website. So basically आप कुछ भी save करोगे ना, it will directly reflect on the website, right everyone? So please ये जो important extensions are there, please install it. Or you can even go and search on the YouTube, right? Key what are the important VS Code extensions. Please have that. All right. Let's go down. क्या बचा है सर slide में? Let's go down. Yeah. So you have this question, quick quiz. Let's attempt this, right? Okay, so I have not explained this yet. Okay. But still, I would want you all to attempt. everyone, please try to attempt, because I know so many of you have already used React, so obviously you must know HTML. So please attempt this question even before me stepping in. So let's check if it is B. All right, everyone, just give me a moment. Okay. So basically what happens is, whenever you open a website, एक primary तो आपका HTML file होगा ना, you should have a primary HTML file. जहाँ से we will start the journey of exploring other pages, right? अब हम हर बार तो नहीं डाल सकते ना conditions that you should visit this page, So we have kept a standard, right? Again, it's a protocol basically. Whenever we open a website, right? Whenever it reloads, we will firstly try and look for index.html. All right. So it's a standard, right? हम जब करेंगे, when we make a website, we'll use index.html as a primary HTML file. Okay. Let's see sir ने क्या prepare किया है for the next slide. Okay, so there are structures, tags, elements, right? So all these things are there. So I'll give you a 5 minutes of break before we start with this, continue the lecture. Please have some water and come back, right? Hello everyone. Everyone is back. पानी पी लिया आप सबने? ओके, चलो अभी हम जाएंगे अपने HTML के स्केलेटन पे, राइट? एक स्ट्रक्चर जो बना हुआ है, राइट? वी विल डिस्कस दैट. इट्स अ वेरी बेसिक वन. ऐसे इट्स नीडेड भी नहीं अभी, राइट? ऑलराइट. So whenever we write some tag, अब जैसे यहाँ पे doc type is there, right? We have written something. There is HTML, there is head tag, there is meta tag, right? There is title tag. Everything is written like, see, there's this bracket, right? So there's this specific bracket that we use to write our tags within that, right? So we'll send it here, right? So you always write tags within that, right? Now you will see that it has been defined. This is a doc type that is called HTML. So this template is called the boiler template, right? So this is a standard template. Without this, your HTML code won't function very good, right? So this is used for that. Now there are some elements are there, right? You open it, you write the content, and then you close it, right? There are some attributes that you give some extra info, right? Self-closing tags hote hain kuch, right? For example, you see HTML tag open ho raha hai, then it is also closing, right? So you write HTML, and then there is again you write a slash before HTML, and then you close it with that, right? There are some self-closing tags. Just you don't have to write aage piche on that, right? For example, an image tag is a self-closing tag, right? I hope this is clear to you guys. More we'll learn when we are going to code it actually. Now let us understand one of the important tags that is written here. I think that is a meta tag. A lot of people ignore that, right? So what is a meta tag? Anyone can explain me what is a meta tag? Hello everyone, don't be sleepy, okay? 10 ही बजे हैं. We can stay awake for half an hour more. Chalo, tell me what is a meta tag? Anyone knows? Because what happens, a lot of people discuss about head tag and everyone. I think the most ignored is the meta tag, but it's I think one of the most important tags when you're going to build an actual website, work on a real life web application. So I'll tell you what it is. Meta tag is it tells about the data of the data. So data about data, right? So whatever we are going to make a website, uske bare mein we will be writing in the meta tag. It can contain some keywords that is helpful for SEO, right? Search engine optimization. We'll also learn about that. What is an SEO? SEO helps you rank your websites better, right? So agar aap search karte ho, how your website is being ranked, first page mein aa raha hai, it's coming on the last page, right? So SEO is SEO helps us to rank it on the very first page, right? There are some paid SEOs, right? There are some free SEOs or non-paid SEOs basically. अभी non-paid SEOs के लिए you have some tricks कि आप अपने site को कैसे rank कर सकते हो, right? So I'm using Hindi in between. I hope no one has problem with that, right? If anyone has, I'll be completely using English. Also let me know about that. If you guys are comfortable in English, or I should use only English. सुमित, प्रियांशु, अभिलाषा, कहाँ हो भाई सब? दक्ष, okay, चलो, I'll be using English then. I'm also comfortable with English. English बोलते बोलते कहीं भूल जाता हूँ अगला सेंटेंस क्या बोलना है. All right. So meta tags क्या है? वो डेटा के बारे में डेटा बताते हैं, right? So they detail about data, right? So आपने you made a website. You can define about those things in the meta tags. It can contain some keywords. These meta tags are hidden on the front end, right? So like आपके users को, they don't know what is the meta tag you have used, right? The things you have used inside the meta tag. So there's some character set that is being defined here, right? Everything will be there, right? Now, ये तो हमने सीख लिया, but I initiated a topic that is the SEO, search engine optimization. Again, I told you the definition. I would be very happy if some of you writes that in the chat. आप कोई लिखोगे definition को जो मैंने आपको बताया. सर्च इंजन ऑप्टिमाइजेशन बेसिकली क्या करता है कि जो आपका सर्च इंजन है उसमें आपके वेबसाइट को अच्छे से रैंक कराता है, राइट? So there are the now there are some concepts that I have not discussed yet. That is the web crawlers, what is a search engine and everything. And search engine is very easy. Search engine का एक example है Google. Google is an example of search engine. And another example of search engine would be Binge, right? So all these are examples of search engines. Right? Yahoo is an example of search engine. Anyone can tell me any other example of search engine? SEO हेल्प करता है आपके साइट्स को इंडेक्स करने में, राइट? सो अच्छे से वो विजिबल हो. Please everyone, yeah, Google is there. No, Safari is a browser. Himal, Safari, Firefox browsers हैं. You can use Google inside Safari. You can use Google inside Firefox. Google is don't confuse with this. I see a lot of people getting confused. Google is a search engine. Safari is a browser. आप सर्च इंजन को एक ब्राउजर के अंदर यूज करते हो. क्लियर हिमल? चलो, ऑल राइट. तो आप नाउ व्हाट द थिंग हियर इज एसईओ का काम क्या है? इन्हीं सर्च इंजन्स पे हाउ वी कैन रैंक आवर वेबसाइट्स बेटर. नाउ देयर आर सर्टेन वेज ऑफ डूइंग दैट. ठीक है, एक आप अच्छा मेटा टैग लिखते हो, राइट? आप वेबसाइट को बताते हो कि क्रॉलर्स को बताते हो कि व्हाट दिस वेबसाइट इज अबाउट. नाउ व्हाट इज अ वेब क्रॉलर, राइट? वेब क्रॉलर नाम से, as a name suggests, it crawls through different websites, sees the content, right? Everything, it goes through that, and जो भी उनको लगता है it's a good content, right? Better search result के लिए वो better website है, it ranks that, right? So those programs or those packets are called the web crawlers, right? All right. तो एक हमने सुन लिया meta tag है. The second is blog. Have you heard about blog posts? So you must be seeing a lot of websites write blogs. उनका क्या फायदा होता है? What is the problem? I don't think a lot of people read blogs, right? पढ़ते हो blog? Anyone? Have you ever read blogs or a lot of blogs? Nope, right? But people still write that. Why? Because these blogs help websites rank better. These blogs tell these web crawlers you should index those sites. These are relevant sites. Getting it, Priyanshu? So this is the main use of blogs. अब जितना ज़्यादा content रखोगे अपने website पे, text content, the better it will rank. All right. Let's go down. Thanks, sir. Could you please slide a bit? So there are some common tags, that you will be using, obviously. So there's an H1 tag. There's a heading tag. जब भी कोई heading लिखते हैं, we write it inside an H1 tag. So there are 6, heading tags from H1 to H6. And as the numbers increase, basically S2, S3, S4, size decreases. So H6 सबसे छोटा heading tag होगा, right, in size. Now, what makes a H1 tag different from a P tag? So the few differences are कि इसमें volume ज़्यादा होता है, right? So the text will be more bold, right? The size differences there, right? So all these things are there. A P tag is a paragraph tag. जैसे आप blog में paragraphs लिखते हो, you write that over the P tag, right? Then there is a href tag. So here you can connect your websites, everything, all that, right? You can paste links here, right? Image tag is there. So as the name suggests, image tag के लिए होता है. There is a UL, that is your list के tag होते हैं. तो unordered list, ordered list, we all will study all these things, right? तो आप list देखते हो ना, when you if you want to, let's say, purchase something, you prepare a list of groceries, right? So अगर आपको website पे डालना है, so that will come under these list tags. चलो, div tag is there. What is a div tag? Very important part. Divisions बनाते हैं हम website के अपने. We structure a website, right? Now you can see अभी जो sir ने website बनाया, it has a structure. There is a header over the top, right? Then there are it follows a very horizontal structure, right? एक box के नीचे एक box करके जा रहा है, right? So these are the structures that we create using a div tag. All right. चलो, अभी कैसे बनाते हैं? We'll learn that later on, right? चलो, there's this code that is there. Very simple code, ठीक है. h2 tag के अंदर हमने लिख दिया, hello, I'm learning HTML. तो आप देख सकते हो, it is bolder, it is bigger than the p tag जहाँ पे हमने लिखा हुआ है my name is Rahul, all these things. Yeah. Then there's unordered list, ul, जो कि list tag है but unordered है, right? So you can see it is in dots पे वो जा रहा है, right? So pointers जा रहे हैं kind of. There's no 1 2 3 4. अगर मैं ये ul को चेंज कर देता हूँ एक ऑर्डर्ड लिस्ट में ओएल में, तो फिर we get 1 2 a b, right? Roman numbers 1 2, right? All these things are there, right? Now let's go to the quick quiz. Please answer everyone this. Look at the question and answer. All right, chalo. Correct. Sir ji, please b को choose किया जाए. Let's go to the next slide. Yeah. Now there are these forms, tables. ठीक है, आप website में जाते हो, आप form भरते हो, right? When you would have taken admission to the LPU, right? You would have filled a form, right? So all these things can be made using a form, right? Form is there inside HTML. आप उससे बना सकते हो. Then there are tables and everything. So all these things are there. These codes will be running tomorrow. So still you can go through it, the tags जो यहाँ पे दिए हुए हैं, आप एक बार उसको check करो and go through it once. Just please have a look. So अगर हमें कुछ टेबल बनाना है, we initiate a table first of all. उसके अंदर we give a head of the table, right? So एक head होता है table का, then उसका body होता है, so we give that inside t body, right? Then there are rows, so tr stand for table row, right? So then there's td stands for table data, th stands for table heading, right? So all these things are there. So please go down. Yeah, just please say sorry sir, I ignored the form section. अगर form section भी explain कर देता हूँ. So in the form section you can see हमने जो form बनाया, we have placed that inside the form tag, right? अब form के अंदर क्या है, कुछ actions हैं. So these are attributes, right? So what we are giving an action, submit, right? So यहाँ पे जो भी चीजें हम करेंगे, जब भी हम click करेंगे, it submits, right? Method is post. So I'll also tell you, अभी post method होता है, put method होता है, there is get method. So the lot of methods are there. All right. So you can see there's this label जो हम form को दे रहे हैं, आप input tags लगाते हो because you take inputs in the tags, right? अभी in fact in the chatting application, जो हम यहाँ पे chat करें, you write the chat and you send it here, right? So that specific a component is your input, right? Everyone clear with that? अभी इसी फॉर्म के अंदर बहुत सारी चीजें होती है, राइट? यू हैव मल्टीपल ऑप्शंस, यू हैव सिंगल चॉइस ऑप्शंस टू सेलेक्ट. आप इनपुट डाल सकते हो, आप अपलोड कर सकते हो चीजों को, यू कैन अपलोड files. So all these things are covered inside the form section, right? I hope everything is clear to you guys. I'll stop the class right now. हम इस slide से भी आगे नहीं जाएंगे. I give you few minutes to please let me know if you have any questions, doubts जो अभी तक आपको हमने पढ़ाया है उसमें से. Meanwhile, please let's go down. अब एक बार मैं इसको खत्म कर लेता हूँ. So please write it in the chat जब तक मैं खत्म करता हूँ, right? So you can see here we have created a very simple form. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे you are putting your name, you're entering your email, and then you can select your city, and then you can register basically, right? This is a student registration form, right? Very simple. Now let's go to the quick quiz. Let me ask this question and then we can proceed with the doubts. Now, which input type auto validates an email format? Very simple. इसके लिए मेरे को नहीं लगता बताने की जरूरत है. Type is equal to email. So when we use this attribute in that input field, it will check whether the entered information is an email or not. All right, please sir, lock कर दें. Okay. चलो कंप्यूटर जी ने लॉक कर दिया था. It was the right answer. All right, everyone. So I will not stress the class today. Please let me know if you have any questions from me. We'll keep the last 10 minutes today for questions. Amit has no doubt, but I have a question. For this week, Daksh, at least the classes will be from 9 to 10:30. Next week, probably we will be shifting the time. Let's see. But अभी इस week के लिए तो ये जो आज का time है, that will continue till this week. So I have this question from you guys. तब तक आप लोग लिखो. Does anyone know what is the difference between UI and UX? Front-end development में बहुत ज़्यादा ignored topic. UI UX. आपने ये term सुना है? Yeah, interface versus experience. Okay, tell me, Priyanshu, what do you think matters more? Interface or experience? Yeah, both are equally important, but it depends on what kind of website we are making. अगर हम dashboards बना रहे हैं, हम banking applications बना रहे हैं, right? Fintech something we are building. Their UX matters more than user interface. But अगर हम एक shopping website बना रहे हैं, ठीक है? तो वहाँ पे UI and UX are equally important. But let's say we are making a simple portfolio website, है ना? In that case, UI is more important. There is no need for UX there, right? Not much of importance for UX, right, everyone? अब what is these things? ठीक है, बहुत अच्छे से समझते हैं. UI is user interface. आप कितना अपने वेबसाइट को सुंदर बना सकते हो, right? How beautiful it is, you know, देखते रहो, right? कितना clean है, minimalist है. A lot of different kinds of websites are there, right? Designs are there. User experience is what, you know, how you interact with the website. कितना आसान है आपके लिए वो यूज करना, right? अभी मैं एग्जांपल दूं. If anyone has a in-display fingerprint scanner वाला phone, right? You will see कि जो आपका जो in-display fingerprint है, that is in the bottom, right, everyone? Just give me a moment, guys. Okay, I'll share the screen. Let me know once the screen is visible to you. Screen is visible, right? Please confirm. Okay, the screen is visible, right? Okay. Now, you see this is the phone. Okay. The in-display fingerprint is here. Now, why is the in-display fingerprint here? हम इसको यहाँ पे क्यों नहीं प्लेस कर सकते, you know, over the top? Sorry. हम इसको यहाँ पे क्यों नहीं प्लेस कर सकते, हम यहाँ पे क्यों नहीं प्लेस कर सकते? Why are we placing it here exactly? Anyone knows the answer? Please एक मेरे को बताओ आप लोग. हर फोन पे वहीं पे क्यों प्लेस होता है इन डिस्प्ले फिंगरप्रिंट? Obviously easy to use है, but why it is easy to use? Okay. राइट। देखो मैं बताता हूँ आपको क्या है मेन फोन यूसेज में। द मोस्ट यूज फिंगर इज योर थंब, specifically right hand ka thumb, because when we are focusing on a larger population, most people are right handed, right? So हम जब भी कोई चीज बिल्ड करते हैं, जो भी सबसे ज्यादा एक्सेसिबल चीजें होंगी, वी विल कीप इट इन द अलाइनमेंट ऑफ हर लेफ्ट राइट हैंड का थंब, राइट? कि हमारे राइट हैंड के थंब से वो रीचेबल हो तुरंत, राइट? बट लेट्स से यू आर ईटिंग समथिंग, आपका राइट हैंड का थंब वो अभी डर्टी है, राइट? एंड यू वांट टू अनलॉक योर फोन, सो वी प्लेस इट इन अ प्लेस जहां से आप अपना राइट हैंड का थंब एंड लेफ्ट हैंड का थंब भी इजीली एक्सेसिबल हो, राइट एवरीवन? इसीलिए व्हेन यू हैंग अप अ कॉल, you can see it is placed again below and on the right side usually, most of the times. जब भी आप अपना फोन यूज करते हो, मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स यू विल सी इन मोस्ट फोन्स कि आपका जो राइट हैंड साइड है, थंब के साइड पे ही आपके बटन्स होते हैं, लॉक अनलॉक, ठीक है? they are mainly on the right hand side of the phone. So this is what user experience is all about in very short. ठीक है, I guess that is it for today's class. If anyone of you don't have any questions, I'll probably end the session.